My husband yelled at me on the phone, saying he wants a divorce. I thought as I came back from my work trip. He's fed up with me, but I've had enough too. If I say sorry, maybe he'll change his mind. I understand, I said to him on the phone. But instead of going to my husband's parents' house where he was, I went somewhere else. My name is Sophie, and I'm 28 years old. I got married to David, who is 2 years older than me, 3 years ago. To be frank, David is the son of the future CEO of the company where I work. Originally, I worked somewhere else. But after marrying David, I changed jobs. Now, I'm working hard in the same company as him, aiming to become the CEO's wife someday. David wasn't sure about me working there, but when the current CEO, who is his dad, ordered it, there wasn't much to discuss. My job keeps me really busy, and I often have to go on long business trips. We've been wanting to have a baby, but with our hectic schedules, it's been hard to relax enough for that. Lately, things between David and me haven't been great. We're both really busy, and we end up arguing about small stuff a lot. Just the other day, David got mad at me as I was getting ready to leave for work. "Hey Sophie, why didn't you wake me up when I asked you to?" "I did wake you up a few times, David, but you yelled at me to leave you alone and said you'd wake up by yourself, so I went ahead and made breakfast." "What? I never said anything like that. Don't lie to me." "I'm not lying. I tried to wake you up at least 20 times and your alarm was blaring the whole time. You can't imagine what's going to happen if I'm late today. I'll get chewed out by my dad again. Why do I have to be the one who gets yelled at when it's his fault for not waking up?" At first, I put up with my husband's unfair scolding, but eventually, I started standing up for myself. This led to a big fight recently where he said, "I want a divorce." Thankfully, our in-laws stepped in and stopped things from getting worse. Still, I was getting really tired of him bringing up divorce every time we argued. One day, while I was getting ready for a business trip, my husband came up to me looking upset. "Hey Sophie, you're leaving for another trip, huh?" My husband always calls my business trips like they're not important. It's not just a trip, it's a business trip. "Why do I have to keep explaining this to you?" I replied, feeling frustrated. "Must be nice always going on trips and neglecting the housework. You're probably just going sightseeing after pushing all the house chores on me, right?" "Listen, that's enough. This is for your company, you know. Why can't you just accept that it's a business trip?" I can't imagine how it's like to be a rookie like you going on a business trip. Being so useful is pretty much just like a trip. What the hell is wrong with you? Can't you tell the difference between a trip and a business trip? Well, it's the truth, isn't it? You say I'm dumping the house chores on you, but you've never done anything around the house when I'm away on a business trip. When I'm not around, my husband only ever orders takeout, leaves the laundry piled up, and doesn't even take out the garbage. Despite doing nothing, his attitude gives me so much stress. Even the divorce drama last time was all because of his personality. Even though we both work and spend the same amount of time on our jobs, all the housework is left to me. On top of that, he acts all superior and domineering, which I couldn't stand. Trying to discuss it with him is pointless as he never admits to any fault on his part. Instead, he always turns it around and blames me. As I continued getting ready for my business trip in silence, my husband started yelling at me again. For goodness sake, the wife of the future CEO shouldn't be taking business trips so lightly. If you're not assertive like me, the other employees will walk all over you. That's exactly why I'm working hard. I need to learn the job and meet with different clients. And yes, being the CEO's son helps. But we also have to acknowledge the efforts of all the employees who work hard to keep the company running smoothly. What are you talking about? The company's success is because of the hard work of all the employees, not just because you're the CEO's son. You should work as hard as everyone else. At those words, my husband got really angry and shouted, "What do you mean, work harder?" The other day, I overheard some employees talking. They said you always pass off overtime and difficult tasks to others and complain a lot. What? Who said that? I'll fire them immediately. That's not the point. Can't you see that you're the one in the wrong here? Can't you see that you're just riding on your father's reputation? My husband's eyes widened with anger, and he grabbed my bangs roughly. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Who do you think got you this job in the first place? Ouch, let go. You're only able to work at this prestigious company because you're married to me, got it? Refuse the business trip. I won't allow you to neglect our home for some work trip. I've explained it many times, it's for my job. I can't just refuse. Shut up. Stop arguing back. You married me, so you should just listen quietly to what I say. Suddenly, his grip on my hair loosened, and I stumbled back onto the floor. If this argument keeps going, it might end up in another threat of divorce. I managed to push my husband out of the room and focused on getting ready for my business trip. When I come back, I'll have to deal with a week's worth of chores piled up by my husband. I bet the laundry will still be there, and the trash will be overflowing. Just thinking about it made me feel exhausted even before the trip. The next day, as planned, I headed off on my business trip. I focused on my work and didn't let personal issues get in the way. When I got back home after a week, I couldn't believe what I saw. I'm back. The house was sparkling clean, just like the day I left for my business trip. It was a pleasant surprise. Thank goodness. Maybe David finally understood how I felt. Perhaps he had a change of heart and decided to help with the housework. Just as I started feeling relieved that my husband was being more supportive, I saw divorce papers on the table. What? What's this? There was a note next to them saying, "I'm going back to my parents' place. We're getting a divorce." Panicked, I quickly called my husband, and he picked up right away. Huh? Did you even read the divorce papers? His casual tone angered me, and I snapped back. Wait, are you seriously talking about divorcing me? Of course. You'd be in trouble if I did, wouldn't you? Don't talk about divorce so casually. Then my husband, sounding smug, said, "If you're going to take it that seriously," and started laying out conditions. "If you start taking care of the house and listen to me, I might think about canceling the divorce. But of course, no more trips." What? Like you, it wasn't just a trip. Huh? Are you talking back? If you are, then I'm divorcing you. You're such a nag. A nag? He calls me a nag when he can't even do a single thing around the house himself. If he's up for it, so am I. Fine. If you don't want to get divorced, then come and apologize. Do you understand? Holding back my urge to argue, I replied calmly, "Okay, I understand. You should have listened to me from the beginning. Now come quickly." With that, he hung up. Instead of going to my in-laws' house where he was, I headed to City Hall. I submitted the divorce papers and they were accepted without any trouble. I was officially single again. 3 hours later, while I was packing up at home, my ex-husband came back with his mother, probably fed up with waiting for me. As soon as they saw me, they started hurling insults. "Hey, how long are you going to keep me waiting? That's right, you're a failure as a wife, yet you're out having fun. You should be taking care of David." Taking care of? How old is David? He's older than me, isn't he? I fired back, feeling frustrated. As I retorted, their brows furrowed in anger. Shut up, stop being stubborn, and apologize quickly. We're really going through with the divorce. If anyone will be in trouble if we get divorced, it's you, Sophie. You could have been the wife of the next company president, and you're okay with acting this way? And you. If you divorce me, you won't be able to live in this luxurious lifestyle. Are you okay with that? Well, I never thought you were a good match for David in the first place, so I really don't care. At a loss for words, my ex-husband grinned devilishly. Fine, this is your last chance. If you don't apologize now, we're getting a divorce. I'll even kick you out of the company. Decide quickly. At that moment, anger surged through me like a fireball. I had to make him understand the reality of the situation. We're already divorced, you know. What? Just as you wished. I've already submitted the divorce papers and they've been accepted, so I'm no longer your wife. What? Her ex-husband and mother-in-law stood there in shock. After a moment of silence, he finally spoke up. What are you talking about? This must be a joke, right? You wouldn't? Why would I lie? If you don't believe me, you can check the records yourself. No way. Suddenly, the mother-in-law, who had been listening, started to shout. Wait, Sophie, what have you done? You've put divorce on David's record, our future CEO. It was your son who gave me the divorce papers first. All I did was submit them. Stop making excuses. Cancel the divorce right now. Do you understand? I'm sorry, but once the divorce papers have been accepted, they can't be canceled. And I have no intention of canceling anyway. What? The mother-in-law was speechless, and the ex-husband just hung his head in defeat. Ignoring them, I continued, I'm tired of being ridiculed every time I go on a business trip and having to juggle work and housework every day. As far as I'm concerned, you're nothing but a burden. So Sylvie, calm down. calm down. I'm perfectly calm. What's the point of being married if it's just a title? All you care about is yourself, isn't it? I didn't mean it like that. Do you realize you're losing your status as the CEO's wife? Are you okay with that? I didn't join your company to become the CEO's wife. I don't know how much you've been spoiled, but I didn't marry you to take care of you. Are you really willing to give up this lifestyle? If you just wait a little longer, you could become the CEO's wife. I absolutely refuse to keep being your caretaker. I'm not your mother. Just go and live your life on your own. With an intensity like never before, my husband was completely teary-eyed. His mother-in-law took her turn, stuttering out her final provocation. What if you divorce David? You'll also lose your job. And what if I do? What? I've already informed your father that I'll be quitting the company. What? The mother-in-law and ex-husband's eyes widened in surprise. To confirm, my ex-husband started calling his father. After a few rings, his father answered, and he put the call on speaker. Dad, listen to this. Sophie decided to divorce me on her own. Yeah, I heard. She told me she's quitting the company too. She's so selfish. Can't you fire her immediately with your CEO powers? Well, I guess I should fire someone ASAP. You. Yeah, that's right. Wait, what? Instead of the stunned ex-husband, his mother-in-law turned to her husband. What do you mean by that? There's nothing to explain. David is a liability who doesn't contribute anything to the company. I'm disappointed in his work ethic. Wait, what? How can you suddenly say that about our son? Stay quiet, the father-in-law firmly told his wife. David, your performance at work is lacking. You misuse company resources, make inappropriate advances towards female colleagues, and complain about trivial things like the cafeteria. You're just not cutting it. Do you think I don't know that your subordinates consider you incompetent? No, that's not true. It can't be. I can't protect you any longer, even if you're my son. You understand this, right? Just because you're the boss's son doesn't mean you get special treatment. But that doesn't mean you have to fire me. The only thing I can commend you for is marrying a capable wife. Sophie will continue to work for the company, but you're fired, David. At his father's words, my ex-husband's eyes widened in shock. Unfazed by his reaction, the father-in-law continued, Unlike you, Sophie is diligent in her work and brings in a lot of contracts. She's highly respected by our clients. Many companies have chosen to work with us because of her. But she was only sent on business trips because she's new. Don't be ridiculous. We trusted Sophie, so we gave her more responsibilities. You made fun of her, calling it a vacation or something, didn't you? No, I didn't. Let me make it clear. There's no place for you here until you become independent. Never come back to this house, understood? No way. And so, my ex-husband was disowned by his father-in-law, lost his job, and couldn't even return to his parents' home. When his mother tried to defend him, his father blamed her for spoiling him and gave her a divorce notice too. They used up their savings to live in an apartment, but they struggled to find work, and their unemployment continued. I still received messages from my ex-husband. Sophie, I was wrong. I won't make fun of you anymore. I promise to take care of myself, so please come back. I can't take it anymore. Help me. He was so persistent that I finally blocked his number. I shouldn't have to deal with that mama's boy anymore. On the other hand, I'm still working hard under my father-in-law, who is now the CEO. I have my own team, and I'm enjoying fulfilling days. I'm grateful that my father-in-law is a supportive manager. From now on, I want to pursue my goals without being held back by meaningless family ties.